Do androids dream of electric sheep? The gist: have androids become indistinguishable from humans? How different are we? The setup: the status of Earth and colonization of Mars. At present, the World War, mentioned but never really explained in great detail, sent most species of living creatures into extinction. The lack of detail upon the fallout was likely purposeful to allow the reader to interpret their own decision of why Earth is in such poor condition, as the human mind has a way of being imaginative when it comes to being cynical. Most of mankind has immigrated to Mars in order to escape the heinous conditions of the world. The book follows mainly two individuals. First, Rick Deckard, the bounty hunter of San Francisco. Rick is a human who has the job of retiring any androids that attempt to emigrate from Mars. His job exists as the government bans androids from Earth in order to avoid any havoc they predict the artificial humans can wreak. Towards the beginning of the book, a large assignment drops in his lap through extenuating circumstances that involve retiring several of the most recently updated Andes, as they are referred to as, which will prove to be the longest 24 hours of his life, but also the most cathartic. Second, the book also follows J.R. Isidore, the chickenhead. The term chickenhead itself is slightly derogatory, as it's used upon the idea that the radioactive dust left behind in the ruin of war can modify the mental capacity of some residents, as well as physical appearances. Once you're classified as a special by the government, you are declared too damaged by radiation to reproduce or leave Earth. As JR is one of those citizens, he lives alone and works as a driver for a veterinarian that poses as a real vet, but works strictly on fake and electric animals, and enjoys listening to Buster Friendly on the radio and television, a name we will get back to. Let's get familiar. The mood organ. Humans have access to a machine that amplifies their emotions or puts them in moods that can be set for the perfect situation, totally changing their current demeanors and instantly altering their mood. This device is devastating to the idea that human emotions are supposed to be natural and, in a way, a step backwards for society, but totally acceptable for the times. The Voight-Kampff test. This test is how Deckard is able to tell android from human. It was designed to strictly read the bodily responses to emotionally provocative questions, so that even if an answer was faked, the test can pick up on the appropriate reading for their unconscious reactions. Mercerism, Wilbur Mercer, and the empathy box. Mercerism is what appears to be the last standing religion that is widely accepted by humans. As commonplace within households, an empathy box is sort of portal where your being becomes physically present with Mercer himself in his travels. This box connects people through what they call fusion, where they all experience each other's emotions in unison. In practice, it seems to be the strongest form of connections humans are able to have, especially since they are split across entire planets. Drawing connections. The purpose of electric sheep and materialism. Within the book, the electric sheep is strictly a charade to display one's affluence. Ownership of a living animal on Earth is a very high status to achieve, and some people attempt to foster the falsehood of owning a fake animal to avoid such social discrimination. This idea of necessary materialism is easily contrasted to the beliefs that the Dalai Lama tries to instill with his mindset of how material goods only compound spiritual unhappiness, and items or things cannot satisfy the soul. The idea behind such acquisition is self-centered and only reinforces a divide between the human connection. Some androids really believe they are human. Being presented with this situation in the book, I cannot help but think back to the statement of René Descartes, cogito ergo sum, or I think, therefore I am, presenting a large philosophical debate on the topic of pre-programmed memories. However, I'm not sure if that makes it real, as seen in the book with people who had been bamboozled about their own life. Unless an individual had a Schrodinger's outlook on their experiences, never attempting to discover if one's ideas were true, to me, some validity would cease to exist. The propaganda machine of Buster Friendly. The unfathomable idea of utilizing imagination to create science fiction. And as stated from JR, the government never kills anyone. Buster Friendly had infected the view of JR and simultaneously deteriorated his perspective on life, being reduced to a pipeline of information from only one source, with the power to alter his reality as he knew it. The radio show host represents the active choice of taking the blue pill and thereby accepting conformity. Additionally, as explained within The Gay Science by Friedrich Nietzsche, thus the strength of knowledge lies not in its degree of truth, but in its age, its embeddedness, its character as a condition of life. To me, this is embedded within the propaganda being shoveled to JR, suggesting that ideas, whether true or not, gain power and influence simply by becoming deeply ingrained in society, embedding particular beliefs over time. The androids will evolve. As discovered in the book, the company that manufactures the androids will eventually try to learn how to beat all of the tests that signify their existence as real or fake. This points in the direction of the hypothesis of Ray Kurzweil and takes his singularity into question. However, for androids to finally surpass humans, there would either have to be a joint relationship between the two to inherently make androids more human, or androids would have to do what otherwise thought impossible, to learn what it means to be empathetic and compassionate. Why will androids not surpass humans? At least not yet. Mercer is immortal. Mercerism and Mercer alike personify the compassion present within the indomitable human spirit. Compassion is innate to humans, but must be channeled and exercised like a muscle to stay strong. Androids lack that ability and do not understand it to any degree. One last reflection upon the Dalai Lama and his insightful wisdom on the power for compassion that closes out the conversation goes as follows. Discover that when we reach beyond the confines of narrow self-interest, our hearts become filled with strength. Peace and joy become our constant companion. Thank you.